As we wrap up Africa Month, the Windybrow Arts Centre will today host an online discussion with the focus When Tragedy Sparks Africa Turns to Comedy. Now, this is the last session of the 4-day annual Africa Month Festival, an event that showcases works of artists from different African countries. Now, joining us for more on this is Keitu Gwangwa. She is the head at the Windybrow Arts Centre. Keitu, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Morning. Thank you for inviting me.
What has been the response so far since you started with these sessions, since Africa Day ends, or rather Africa Month ends today?
Well, there's been really good response. The dialogues we've had have been really engaging. And people are actually asking for more, wondering whether there's a part two. We've had a conversation around Swahili and us adopting it as an official language within the country. That was quite a great interest around that. But today, being our last day in celebration of Africa Month, we'll be speaking to a number of comedians trying to find out what is it about South Africans. And we really have a keen and strange sense of humor. But it is one of the things that's unique about us.
Okay, talk to us about the idea then, which was a point of discussion under the subject line, speaking to Swahili, which suggests the implementation of Swahili. I mean, how was the reaction to those who took part on these online discussions?
Well, we spoke with members in the education department in Ghana, in Kenya, and in Nigeria. And we also spoke to head of Somafo Trust, Solomon State. And there was a keen interest around engaging our children in Swahili, but also trying to find what the function of Swahili would be in a country like ours that's been labeled as an official. Whether is it time to introduce Swahili when we're still trying to prioritize our own languages, whether we recognize it as a valuable language to include. Other people are saying it should be the money language. And people were comparing it to the likes of French and Portuguese in the country, whether people will find the same amount of love they have and keen interest for those kind of languages as they would for Swahili. But it was generally trying to find what the space, how would it fit into Africa, and would we find ourselves one day communicating across all different countries? Would we go to Nigeria and be able to say habari sana? Is that the vision of the continent? Is that the trajectory? What are we working towards? We were trying to unpack this, and I think we needed to have another session to really go deep into the importance of intercontinental trade and utilizing Swahili as a possible language to engage the different countries.
And so much has been said with regards to what you just told us now, and there's mixed feelings about the adoption of Swahili as an official language. Will this not perhaps divide or unite the continent? Because I suppose that each and every country will still take pride in their own individual identity in terms of languages. Hi, Keitu. Are you still with us?
Absolutely. I mean, there is a great understanding that Swahili, or rather language, is a conveyor belt of culture and identity.
Okay, now this is the third year running of this festival. How has it grown since it started 3 years ago, and what more should be done to strengthen it?
I think, well, the reason why we started with the conversation is because the Windybrow will be offering Swahili lessons going forward. And I think the interest, when you speak to people, they compare them and wonder, should we rather learn Swahili or should we learn Mandarin? And more often than not, Swahili is the choice. Because it is an African language, it's indigenous to this continent, and there's a certain level of pride in that. And as we break more borders or become far more Pan-African in our approach, culturally, politically, economically, there's a sense of wanting to own something that is from the continent, that is from the people of this continent.
Say for interest's sake, all African countries do reach a consensus with regards to adopting Swahili as an official language. What would then happen to the other languages then?
I think there will always be a love for one's own identity, a love for one's own language. I mean, if South Africa can have 11 official languages and still have very concerted effort to maintain, to promote, and develop our languages in curricula, in academia, I don't think that Swahili is going to overtake that process. I think there will still remain a great love, but it will function like English or like French in the continent as merely a tool of communication. I don't know if it will get as far developed as English, but I definitely don't think at this point, and you never know, I don't think it's going to overtake or suppress anybody else's languages.
All right, as we wrap this interview, please share the details of the event this evening.
This evening's event will be at 6 p.m. on our Facebook pages. And we'll be speaking to Tyson Ngubeni, we'll be speaking to Gabriel Ozoko, known as Angel Gabriel, and the funny chef, who is Lebogang Tlokwane. And we'll also be speaking to Buisili Mnina, who is a psychologist and therapist. And we'll be tapping into comedy in South Africa. And I've enjoyed some of the skits that people have been making online. And I think what sparked it is also the song When People Zol, which is a very famous song now. But there's a need to look into that and wonder what is it that we do. We really do have an interesting sense of humor. And I pride myself as a South African for that.
Indeed. Keitu, thank you so much for chatting to us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Keitu Gwangwa. She is the head at the Windybrow Arts Centre, talking to us about the comedy event that is set to take place this evening online as we wrap up Africa Month. We take a quick break. We'll be right back.